Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Robby Auziqni. I am a student in Mercubuana University, majoring in informatics computer science. In this video, I will talk about Q&A, basic Q&A about NLP or natural language processing. Disclaimer: this video is made as a part of my assignment in that subject, the subject of NLP. So let's get into it. The first question about NLP. Well, what is the definition of NLP? NLP, or natural language processing, is a subfield of linguistic, computer science, and artificial intelligence, specifying on the interaction between human language and computers. In particular, how we program a computer to be able to process and analyze a large amount of data, or to be specific, natural language data that we as humans use. That's about NLP. And the second question: what are the challenges of data processing or research in the field of NLP? Well, human language is very unique. By mean very unique, human language have something like sarcasm, slang language, and homonyms. Those are the challenges when we are talking about natural language data, because those those challenges like sarcasm, homonyms, and slang language, and idioms, sometimes the spoken or the written words, the written sentences have different meanings. That leads to ambiguous expression or ambiguous meanings. That is the challenge to comprehend or to interpret that slang, sarcasm, homonyms, and so on. That is the challenge. And yeah, it becomes a challenge when we try to pre-process it, to handle it, to then the computer will able to analyze it. And the next question is, what is an example of implementing NLP? Well, we may know in our mobile phones, or if we have an Android phones, and we have Google have something like Google Assistant for assisting our everyday lives. When we spoke to our phones, and the assistant will answer us regarding our question, okay Google, blah 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 blah. Then the Google Assistant will answer us. The Google Assistant itself is the implementation of AI specifying in NLP. It uses NLP to be able to comprehend or to be able to interpret the human language or the language of the users itself. The other use of NLP, similar to Google Assistant, is Siri in Apple, or Alexa, I think, in Amazon, or for our Windows we have Cortana, though we may not use Cortana too much in our everyday lives. And the other implementation of NLP is in chatbot. if we have like chat application, whether it's WhatsApp, Line, and so on and so on, sometimes we find like a chatbot. The chatbot, well, not all of chatbot, but the good chatbot is that use the NLP, not just like if else for answering question. No, but the good chatbot is the one that use NLP. The next like implementation of NLP is when we type something in Google. We type something in Google, and sometimes there are like, or not sometimes, but like there is always like a suggestion from Google for our question or our search in Google. That is also the implementation of NLP. So yeah, that are the implementation of NLP. And the next question is, what is the use of the NLTK and Sastrawi libraries? Well, the first is NLTK. Sorry, the pronunciation. NLTK is a powerful Python package, that provides us a set of diverse natural language algorithms. NLTK helps us as programmers to be able to build like a program to analyze, pre-process, and understand the written text or the natural language data. NLTK itself consists the most common algorithms such as tokenizing, or like sentiment analysis. We can use like stemming methods in NLTK, and so on. As for Sastrawi libraries, well, Sastrawi is a library used for stemming Indonesian language or stemming Indonesian text. This library allows us to reduce inflected words in Indonesian language to their best form, or the definition is stemming process. So Sastrawi is used to stem Indonesian words or Indonesian sentence. Sorry. The next question is, what is the purpose of scaffolding in NLP? Scaffolding, the purpose of it is to convert all characters in a document into same case, like uppercase or lowercase, in order to speed up comparisons during the indexing process in NLP. So it just like transforms the words or sentences into the lowercase and uppercase, because sometimes we have a data like in different case, like for person names, it is usually have like capitalized first characters in the first characters of it. So in order to speed up the comparisons during the indexing process, we use scaffolding. Though the example of people names is not a match with this case. Sorry. So the next question is, what is the definition of tokenizing? The tokenizing or tokenization process is a process of splitting a phrase or a sentence or paragraph, we can say, or an entire text, an entire document into smaller units. Each of these smaller units are called tokens. That's why it is called tokenizing or tokenization process. These tokens um, is in the form of individual words or terms. That is what token is. The next question, what is stop words? Stop words in NLP is like what to say, useless. They are useless words. Useless words by means useless words is like, how to say, a commonly used word that a search engine has been programmed to ignore. In the case of search engine, both when indexing entries for searching and when retrieving them as the result of a search query in the search engine. The example of like stop words or the commonly used words like the, a, and in. These words is ignored in the case of search engine implementation. The next is what algorithms that can be used for stemming Indonesian text. Well, for the algorithm that can be used for stemming Indonesian text or Indonesian language, I think we can use the most popular algorithm for stemming language. That is Porter's algorithm. Yes, I know Porter's algorithm is used for stemming English text or English language, but before we go into the why Porter is able to stem Indonesian language, what is Porter algorithm? Well, Porter algorithm, the process of Porter algorithm is to remove the common morphological and inflectional endings, or we can say suffix and prefix from words in English originally. This algorithm consists of 5 phases of word reduction. There are various conventions to select rules within each phase. Yes, back to it again. Yes, well, it means for English language we can use it to stem Indonesian language, though the rule must be different. For example, like in English, there are words for like programming with the stem words or the root words is the program. Well, in Indonesian, there are like, for example, perlari with the stem words is lari. The difference is the rule. The rule, we can define the rule, or like for specifying the rule for Indonesian language, we can change the rule for Indonesian language. That's why, but with the same process as the case of English language. That's why I state that we can use Porter algorithm to stem Indonesian language, though for different rules. The next question is, what is the purpose of word embeddings? Well, word embedding. What is a word embedding? Word embeddings is a definition. Word embeddings reverse to a learned representation for text words that have the same meaning, or that have the same meaning have a similar representation. The purpose of word embedding is to quantify and categorize like semantic similarities between linguistic items based on their distributional properties in large samples of language of data. language data. Sorry. Hope you understand it. The next is state and describe the architectural model of word-to-vec. Well, when we talk about architectural model of word-to-vec, there are three main building blocks of which make up word-to-vec. The first building block is vocabulary builder. This module extracts unique words from raw data or from the data set, from the raw data, language data, in the forms of sentences to build the vocabulary of the system. The next building blocks, the second building blocks, is the context builder. This module takes the output from the vocabulary builder, which is the vocabulary object that contains the index and count as input. Not only takes the particular words, but all the words in the range of context window. Context window. What is context window? Context window is the number of words which has to be considered while we taking in the input. Generally, 5 to 10 words are considered as standards. The next building block is neural network. Now this neural network consists one input layer and this one hidden layer and one output layer. So the input layer has many neurons, as there are words in vocabulary for training, like from the previous context builder. The data from the previous building block is inputted in this particular input layer. So we can imagine that there are many words from the output of previous blocks. Therefore, there has many neurons in these input layers. The second layer, which is the hidden layer, the layer size of it in terms of neurons is the dimensionality of the resulting word vectors, as I said before. So the third and final layer, or the output layer, which has the same number of neurons as the input layer. Of course, input and output layer should be the same numbers. And then the next is, what is the definition of bag of words? A bag of words refers to a method that often used for document classification. This method turns text into fixed length of vectors by simply counting the number of times a word appears in a document. For example, in a document there are 5 occurrences of sentences, like I'm handsome, I'm cool, and I'm beautiful, I'm cute. So when we are talking about bag of words, as the definition before, we simply counting the number of times that word appears in the document. For example, a word I is occurred about I'm handsome, I'm cool, I'm beautiful, I'm cute. It is 4 times occurred in the documents. And of course it is not as simple as that, because there is also further step. The next is, tell me about the fast text algorithm, or tell us about fast text algorithm. No, fast text actually is a library for efficient learning of word representation and sentence classification. Fast text allows us to train supervised and unsupervised representation of words and sentences. Fast text represents each word as an n-gram of characters. We will talk about n-grams later. For example, for the word pencil with n equal to 3, fast text representation for the character n-gram is what is the symbol of like parenthesis that like this. So the fast text representation for the character is the parenthesis like this, and the next is PE because the word of pencil PE, and the next word is pen PEN. The next word is ENC because the n is equal to 3, so we take 3 of each like representation of words. ENC and NCE, CEL, EL, and the next is the parenthesis. Now the parentheses are added as boundary symbols to distinguish the n-gram of a word from a word itself. So for example, if the word pen is part of the vocabulary, it is represented as parenthesis, pen, and the close parenthesis. This helps preserve the meaning of shorter words that may show up as n-grams of other words. Inherently, this also allows us to capture meaning for suffix and prefixes. Once the word has been represented using character n-grams, a skip-gram model is trained to learn the embedding. So the next step is using skip-gram model. The next is what is the meaning of n-gram. Now, n-gram in NLP refers to a sequence of n words. N-grams can be used for auto-spell check, and also for like auto-completion of sentences, like I've been talked about before in the Google search. And also in like Gmail, sometimes when we write the email, it gives us like the suggestion for the next word that we will use. Yes. The next question is describe an example of applying n-gram. Right. For example, if we have sentence like I am, then we have 2 gram, or we can say it's bigram because it has 2 words. Meanwhile, if we have I am handsome, then we have 3 gram because it has 3 words, and so on. So that is how we like apply. That's like example of applying n-grams. Okay. The next question is, what is the definition of smoothing? Well, smoothing techniques in NLP refers to scenarios related to determining probability or likelihood to estimate a sequence of words occurring together when one or more other words individually or unigram or n-gram such as bigram or trigram in the given set have never occurred in the past. So smoothing is used for test data, not the trained data itself. The next, tell us about Laplace smoothing. Okay, the Laplace smoothing is a smoothing technique that help us to remove the problem of zero probability in the naive-Bayes machine learning algorithm. So yeah, originally used for naive-Bayes algorithm, though it can be used in NLP or natural language processing case. It works by the use of higher alpha values to push the likelihood towards a value of 0.5. So instead of 0, it will push the value to the 0.5. The next question is, what is the definition of backoff and interpolation? Well, backoff and interpolation, for what I know, they are techniques that we can use when we don't have a trustworthy model. Backoff is a technique to back off, or in bahasa mundur, to back off or to move to the lower model in order to obtain a trustworthy model. For example, if we don't have a model in a trustworthy model in trigram, then back off to bigram. If we don't have trustworthy model in bigram, back off to unigram. That is what back off is. The complicated question is, when we have unigram, then what, how do we back off? Because unigram is 1 gram. Okay, it's just intermezzo. The next is meanwhile the interpolation. Interpolation, in the other hand, is a technique to mix unigram, bigram, and trigram when we don't have trustworthy model. So interpolation is mixing them, while the backoff is downgrade or move to the lower model. The next question is, explain why the Nazarene smoothing method performs so well. Well, we know that the Nazarene smoothing method is widely considered as the most effective method of smoothing. Why? Because the use of its absolute discounting. The key is the use of the absolute discounting by this method. How does it work? It works by subtracting a fixed value from the probability's lower order terms to omit n-grams with lower frequencies. So what makes this Nazarene method perform so well? The thing is, the main key is the discounting, the absolute discounting method that this Nazarene have. The next question is, what is the background for the development of the stupid backoff method? Now, the first is, why the stupid backoff called stupid? Because it is stupid? No, because the creator, or the the persons that built this method, which is Brands and his colleagues from Google, they introduced this method as a new smoothing method with a premise. The premise is a simple algorithm, but works well with very large scale of data. That's why it's called stupid, because in a simple way we can achieve we can achieve a better performance than the other complicated ways with stupid simple method. The next is, what is the rationale for the good turning smoothing method? Well, it is typically vital that the probability of the unseen objects not to be estimated as zero. Now, good Turing methods provide a simple estimate or a simple estimation of the probability of the objects not seen. So instead of making it estimate it as a zero, the good Turing methods provides provides a way that the unseen objects is not counted as zero. So that's all of the question for the assignment. Thank you for watching my videos. I hope this video makes a lot of sense, or you can take many benefits from this video, and I hope that we as the persons in IT field is not tired of learning something new, because it is the how to survive in this field. If we lazy, or if we don't have the willpower to learn new things, then we will become obsolete persons, or obsolete human in IT terms, because we only know, or we only knew all technologies. Meanwhile, the technology is developing faster than we can learn. All is developing faster. You know what I mean? So we should learn new technologies. Don't be tired to learn something new. And hope that my explanation is understandable. So that's for my video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.